Okay, so morning everyone, morning. Before we start officially, that we have an announcement to make. Because of a special ceremony, that we're not going to have this meditation sections next week. So we are going to skip for 1 week. Okay.
Because next week is the Katina Festival, 4th October. So I need to join the ceremony until maybe noon or 1 o'clock, something like that. So I think that the English session will be cancelled, but other sessions will be continued. You can join other sessions if you like.
Yeah, we will still have Cantonese sections on Saturday. So for those who can speak Cantonese, that you can join next Saturday. But we're going to skip for 1 week for these English sections. Okay. So before we start officially these meditation sections, let us bow 3 times all together. We do that like all the time. Ajali Wandana. Abi Wandana. Ajali Wandana. Abi Wandana. Ajali Wandana. Abi Wandana. Okay, so welcome everyone once again. My name's Alan. I'm holding these meditation sections today. So please feel free to let me know if you need any assistance or information. Before we start, let's thank Ajahn Yiu ahead for the precious moment, for the precious time, and Michi Fafa for the equipment and other assistance, as well as all of the other guys who make this happen. And let me remind everyone once again that we're going to share these meditation sections on YouTube and openly this time. So if you have any very, very private questions to ask Ajahn Yiu, so please stay behind. And we're going to let you ask your questions directly with Ajahn Yiu, with the presence of at least one male guy there. So this time maybe it's Freddie or I don't know, anyone else who would like to stay. So okay, so thank you very much, and Ajahn, please.
So remember, it should be very, very private, not just normal private. Okay, so let's start the meditation. Gung, can you hear me now? She may have some problem with the earphone. Freddy, you can contact with her. Gung.
Okay, sure. I think Kong did not connect with the audio. I saw her connect a few times, but still failed to connect. So it's the audio that is not connecting, not the microphone.
So hopefully she can hear. So okay, so let's start the meditation. So adjust your body posture. So sit in an upright posture comfortably. First, we start to adjust the base of our body. That is the area in between the hip and the knees, a triangular area. So this area should be touching the ground as much as possible. So we need to push our hip a little bit backward so that our weight will be moved a little bit forward. The axis of the body will be at the middle of the body. Relax the area between the legs and the lower abdomen so that our legs will be relaxed and touching the ground. So if our body is have a stable base, then the mind will be more stable because it is grounded. And the upper part of the body, just imagine there's the air channel inside this body. The air channel starts from the sinuses through the throat and directly down to the lower abdomen. And just imagine there's an empty channel inside here. Keep this channel straight and empty. Freddy, you can send message to Kun. She cannot hear. So the this air channel, just let it be the middle line of the body, the pillar of the body. Just keep it straight and empty, unblocked. And all the other parts of the body, just let it relax and sink down. And just throw the weight down to the ground. Your shoulders down and your head uplift. Shoulders down, head up, so that you just the area in between the head and the shoulders will be more relaxed. This is the area of the triangle of stress. When we have stress, our shoulders will be contracted, will be uplifted, and our head will be tight. So the stress will have some effect in this area especially. The triangular area in between the head and the shoulders. Relax it. So just pay attention to the air channel of this body. Let the breath flow in and out naturally. The area which is breathing is the belly button area. When our stomach rises, then the air flow into this body. And when it contracts, then the air flow out from the body. So the other part, including the nose, the throat, the lung, just leave it as kind of empty channel. We don't need to breathe with the nose. It is from the belly button. Breathe in and out. Relax your stomach. Relax your abdomen area, especially, so that your breath can go deeper. But don't try to push the breath down deep into the body. Just let it be natural. Our duty is just to relax, keep the channel straight and empty, and let it be. So during the whole meditation, once you feel that your body posture is not straight, it's not right, maybe it is turning to the left or right, maybe it's falling to the left or right or back or the front. So you just come back to keep the air channel straight, and the body will adjust itself. You don't need to pull the head back. You don't need to bend the waist back or forth. Just imagine, try to keep the air channel straight. So that you can adjust the body posture with breathing. Adjust the air channel with breath. And make it straight, not with muscle. And then we come to the area of the head. Just leave the breathing as the background of the meditation, and pay attention to the area of the head at the right middle of your brain. So feel this area. Feel the tightness or tiredness of this brain. Relax it, unfold it. Just like letting the brain sleep. Let the brain sleep in the breathing. And this is to rebalance our brain. If we are thinking too much in our daily life, then when we start to meditate, we face the problem of agitation and then sleepiness. So just let the brain take a rest. Intentionally let the brain sleep. It's the brain sleep, not the mind sleep. Brain is a part of the body. Relaxing the brain simply just like relaxing our hands or relaxing our shoulder. Just leave it non-doing, non-working. Take a rest in the breathing. You can rely on the breathing. Let the brain sleep comfortably in the breathing. If you feel that the brain is heavy, is dark, is dull, that means it is tired. Just let it sleep. Take a rest in the breathing. Let it take a rest for a while, and it will recover. Until it becomes bright and have the feeling want to move, want to do something. Then that means he has taken enough sleep. The practitioners will usually resist the sleepiness almost automatically. Once they feel asleep in the meditation, and they will try to resist. They will not accept. They think that this is something bad or something evil for the meditation. But resisting, denying, and this is a form of aversion. And you will drain the mental energy even more and make our brain even tired, even more tired. So just let it take a rest, because it is physically tired. Why not just let it take a rest? But the important point is that let the brain take a rest, not the mind. Don't identify yourself with the brain. If you intentionally leave the brain to take a sleep, then the mind will stay alert. It is strange, but it happens like this. Just intentionally let the brain take a sleep, but not just simply sleep, sleep in the breathing. This will secure our mind to stay at the present moment. Because once we still know the breathing, that means the mind is present. If you simply let the brain take a free sleep, then sometimes it'll be easy for you to be deluded in the dreams. So leaving the brain to take a sleep will effectively reduce the level of agitation, and will recover from the tiredness of the brain. And during the process, the continuity of knowing to the present moment is also established. Because during the brain sleep, you are knowing the breathing all the time. So this is the mindfulness. So when the brain has taken enough sleep to maintain the mindfulness itself, then we can pay attention to the area at the middle of the chest. So feel this area. If we have some emotional blockage, then we'll feel a feeling of tightness or stress or tense in this area. But if you are generally emotionally normal, then you'll not feel something special here. But still you can try to let it open. Open the chest, open the heart to the present moment. So just let it open like a blossoming of lotus inside your chest. And delete the boundary in between you and the nature. Just let it open like lotus. If there's any emotional stress, just leave it to the nature. Release it. Let it go. Return it back to the nature. Actually, it is not belong to you, but it is our own attachment to the ego, thinking that this is mine, this is belong to me, this is my emotion. But actually, you can, what you can really experience is just the tension of the emotions, but there's no self. It's a tension from the mind, and also have the effect on the body. Whatever you feel, just face directly to it. Be open to it. Be patient to it. There is no self to be defended. There is no one to be hurt. Just be open to the present feeling. And relax the attachment to this body and to this mind. This is the key to solve all problems of suffering. Relax the attachment to this person. Detach from it. There's the body sitting here. There are some feelings happening inside. There may be some thoughts sometimes, and there is also the consciousness, knowing everything happening. And these are the 5 khandhas. These are not me. You can never find an ego, a me, inside these 5 faculties. There are only the 5 khandhas, including the knowing. Even this knowing mind is not you. It's not belong to you. It's not under your control. Sometimes it knows, sometimes it doesn't know. Sometimes it is covered by the cloud of thoughts, but sometimes it is clear and clean. Just relax from everything, from the whole body and the whole mind. It is not a concept of stepping back or withdraw from this body, but just relax the attachment, relax the connection to it. Just like if we are holding something in our hand, if we want to pull it down, let it go, we need to relax the fingers first. So it is the same for the mind. Relax the power of attachment until it can let go. In the area at the middle of the chest, just keep an open attitude, face to everything happen at the present moment. The relaxation of the brain and the opening of the chest, they will combine into one. This is belong to the same mind, but have different symptoms in different parts of the body. But actually they are rooted in the same mind. Relax the brain and open the chest. So combining these two, you will have a feeling of open silence or silent openness. Only when you can let go the attachment, then you can open completely to the present moment. If you are attaching something to be self, then you cannot completely let go, cannot completely open yourself. Because you are defending, you are protecting. There are different layers of relaxation. The first layer is what we were doing in adjusting the body posture. That is to relax the muscles, tendons, the joints. This is the corest level of relaxation. And the middle level of relaxation is to relax the emotion. When we are paying attention to the area inside the chest, here is the center of emotions. Relax emotionally then we have a feeling of easefulness. We have feeling of the mind is at ease. It is light, relaxed, and at ease. And this is emotional relaxation. And deeper than this is the relaxation of the attachments, of the clingings, clinging to this body, clinging to this mind. Clinging means we identify ourselves as this body or this mind. Relaxing the attachment means we are gradually reducing such clinging temporarily. Relaxation should be happen naturally. You cannot force yourself to relax. In order to relax, we need to accept first. Accept the present situation, no matter how bad it is. Accept it and keep yourself not doing. Let it settle down. If you can relax deeply in the area of the chest, then you feel that the mind is completely at ease. You have the rapture, the beating, and the happiness arises in the mind. This is the kind of ease when we have put down some burden from our shoulders. These burdens is our attachment to the ego, attachment to the body and mind. If you find it difficult to do this, then you can go back to the earlier stage. Relax the brain and let the brain sleep in the background of breathing. The first stage, we need to build up the continuity of knowing to the present moment. That is the mindfulness. So knowing the breathing with the brain sleeping is an effective way to recharge the mind with mindfulness. And when it gains enough energy from mindfulness, then you can wake up. That is the second stage, the awakeness. Or it is, another word, it is sampachanya, the clear comprehension. That means that the awakeness of the mind. In this stage, the mindfulness, the knowing becomes all-embracing. It becomes all-directional. You don't need to focus onto something in order to know. You just stay at the middle, and it knows naturally. This is the awakeness of the mind. The mindfulness, just like a torch, a flashlight. So you can see some particular object you want to see. But for the awakeness of the mind, it's just like an electric bulb in the room. when the bulb is on, the whole room is clear. You see everything in the room. But before our mind can wake up, we need to accumulate the power of the mindfulness. Feel the area of the brain. Relax it and let it take a sleep in the breathing. Relax the agitation on the surface. Then the tiredness can show up to you. And just let it take sleep in the breathing. Sometimes if we don't have enough mindfulness, the mind will not be awake, or can just be awake for a short while. It depends on a different person. Some people are using the brain too much in the daily life. Then he or she will need more time to let the brain take rest. But for those who are generally mindful in their daily life, they don't need to take too long in this stage, or even can skip this stage. The awakeness of the mind is the stage when the mind realizes that it is not the body, it is not the mind. It does not identify itself to this body and mind. Then it is awake. Then it can see things as they are, see things with the perspective of non-self. Whatever that you are knowing, is not me. And even the knowing, the knowing mind is not you too. There is the breathing, there are the thoughts, and there is the sleepiness maybe, and there is the knowing. Whatever it is, these are just functions of this person, of this body and mind. They are never belong to you. So keep this right view during the whole process of our meditation. Let the breathing be the background. We don't need to be stuck to the breathing all the time. Sometimes there are thoughts, sometimes there are feelings, sensations, or sleepiness. When they come, you cannot see the breathing. When they go, then the breathing comes up again. This is the nature. This is what it is happening. Once we are aware, then we just know as it is. We don't need to fight with anything. They are just habits, but no enemies in this body and mind. Once we know that we were not mindful in the previous second, then now we are mindful. We don't need to be regret for the past. Just do it at the present moment. Investigate your mind. What is the biggest problem of the mind now? Is the mind agitated or sleepy or has some emotions like cravings and aversion or doubts? Which one of the 5 hindrances are your problem? Is your problem? If your problem is agitation or sleepiness, then relax the brain. Sleep in the breathing. Because agitation and sleepiness is about the brain function. The brain is tired. And if your problem is about emotions, liking or disliking emotions, then pay attention to the middle of the chest. Open the chest, open the heart. Let it be harmony with the nature. And if the problem is about doubtless, it's about the doubts or suspicions, then remind yourself with the right view. Just simply remind yourself with the facts of permanence, suffering, and non-self. Face to everything with this perspective, then there should not be any doubt. No matter what it happens, feeling peaceful or not peaceful, or have some special experience like luminous mind or some nimittas. These are just the nature, and they are also impermanent, suffering and non-self. So we don't need to be interested in anything like this. Once we stay with the Dhamma, we have no doubt. When the mind is awake, then the knowing becomes all direction. And if you can keep enough long in this or embracing knowing, then the mind gradually settle down. It settle down in the neutrality. The mind becomes neutral and stable. Then this is samadhi. When the mind is in the samadhi, then it is knowing It is awake and it is stable. It is unshakable, or at least not to be shaken easily. Samadhi is the stability of the mind, stability of the knowing, stability of the sati sampajanya. It comes from sati, it comes from mindfulness and clear comprehension, but it's kind of a stable form of knowing. When the mind is stable like this, then the knowing becomes automatic and effortless. You don't need to protect, you don't need to defend from the distractions, because the samadhi gives you the sense of stability. The distractions cannot shake the mind. But we cannot directly do the samadhi. Samadhi is the natural result when we can continue our mindfulness and clear comprehension. The mind settle down itself. It's not something under our control. If you want a cup of water to settle down, you should not do anything to the water. You just leave it there and keep yourself non-doing. Non-doing is the right attitude in our meditation. If you want to do something, want to reveal something, these wants are the obstacles of to your meditation. What we need to do is just to know as it is. Actually, this sentence it describes the whole process of meditation. But when our mind is not ready, then we simply cannot experience it. Let go everything. The objects and the mind. Both of them are not you. But just let them function themselves. It's not something related to you. The body is breathing and the mind is knowing. But there's no you. You are nowhere. If the mind is knowing, is awake and stable, then it is ready for Dhamma. so we can stick to the Dhamma of non-self. Everything is non-self. And let this be your theme of meditation. Just remember non-self. Everything is non-self. What you are knowing is non-self. And the knowing itself is non-self. There is no self. There is a breathing, there are the feelings, and there may be the thoughts, there is a knowing, whatever. All these are not self. Just let them come, let them go, let them happen themselves. So we apply the stability of the mind that we cultivate in the previous stages and apply it onto the Dhamma, onto the non-self, anatta, and let the body and mind be completely natural. In this stage, peacefulness is not necessary. Because our meditation object now is the Dhamma. It embraces the whole body and mind. So any change in the body and mind is still in our meditation object. You can do this if you can follow the instruction. But if you find it difficult, then you can stick with the previous stages. Okay, time's up today. Time's up for the sitting meditation.
So, Ajahn, should we tell them to switch off the camera if they don't need to consult with you, like with the Cantonese sections, or should we?
So, first, if any of you don't want to be asked any question, or maybe you are afraid to report anything to me, then you can switch off the camera, so that I know this is someone who is not here. And for those who are rushing to go, then you can press the raise hand button, so that I'll ask you first. Okay, only one. All right. Kira.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Yeah. How's your practice today?
It was better than 2 weeks ago, and there were short moments, about a few seconds maybe, that I felt the attachment, and I suddenly was able to see my attachment, and I felt free for a few seconds. And there were short moments, like 2 or 3 moments. But after those moments, I felt like I want to feel that again, and and I wanted to come again.
If you want, then you
So
cannot see.
yeah, right.
Only when you can keep your mind neutral and relaxed, then you will happen itself. Because it is something continual. It is related. Only the relaxed mind can see something subtle. If we want to do something, then the mind becomes coarse, because the want is the obstacle for knowing. So just let it be. Whatever you know or you don't know, just let it be. Our duty is to relax into the present moment. Just let the present moment flow, and we just keep knowing as it is. This is what we need to do. And other than this, it's not our duty. Sometimes we know something, sometimes we don't know. Just let it be, because even such knowing, such understanding is impermanent. Don't ever expect this to happen all the time. And don't try to protect any mental state. Just let it be. If you want to protect, then you are deluded. You are taking something as ego, right? If we don't have ego, if we don't have any identity, then we have nothing to defend.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So if we want to do something, that means we are already deluded. The delusion comes before the craving. So if you cannot know again, just let it be, let it go. And now we know the stages, now we know the path, then just keep doing it all the time in our daily life. And not only meditation, but also the precepts and wisdom. They are in a triangular shape. They're helping each other, connecting to each other. The precepts helps samadhi and wisdom. Samadhi helps the precept and wisdom helps the precept and samadhi. We cannot let go. We cannot ignore any one of them. So just relax the body and mind step by step. Then you find that you can see more and more subtle. If you can identify the attachments, then you can simply relax the attachment. It is much easier than you thought. But the problem is that we cannot identify something. If we need to let go something, we need to identify something, right? My simile is that just like if you put your mobile phone in the pocket, but you forget which pocket you put it. If you cannot identify the where your phone is, then you cannot let go, cannot put the phone down, right? You need to find out your phone first and then put it down. So it is same when we can identify our attachment, then we have the chance to let go the attachment. Simply just kind of relaxation. If we can identify the tense in our muscle, then we can relax the muscle effectively. But if we can not even identify the tense, we have no object to relax. So try to do a meditation as a daily homework, and so this will help to maintain a higher level of mindfulness. Then everything will change itself. And come to the meditation session every week.
Okay.
Don't be lazy.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone who want to leave earlier? No. Okay. Then I'll ask according to the order of the nature. Chiêu Shen Heng.
Good afternoon, Ajahn.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Today is another session, a good session where detaching from my mind and body. Always be mindful not to cling on to them. Especially the like and dislike have to keep on reminding that they are not me. So try not to have like and dislike. Yeah. So I don't cling to the body. Trying to be mindful of that. So it's okay. It's a good session. Remind me again.
Can you follow the instruction to the last stage?
Yes.
So you can stay with the non-self as the theme of meditation.
But halfway that you attach again, like then a little bit of delusion come in again, then you become mindful again. You focus in the present moment. Try not to attach good or bad, because there's a tendency to cling on to good feeling. I feel.
Yeah.
So every time when it comes, I to be very mindful.
So as I said before, we try to like something. We are deluded to the ego first. The ego is that these feelings belong to me, or this feeling can be part of me. This is kind of delusion. If we don't have such delusion, then the clinging, then the craving can arise. When the mind is awake, then you clearly see that nothing is belong to us. Then the craving and aversion cannot, just simply doesn't exist. So the cultivation of mindfulness and clear comprehension, sati sampajanya, is the whole path of meditation. And samadhi comes from this sati, and wisdom also comes from this sati. So everything starts with sati. The second is the sampajanya. The third is samadhi, and the fourth is wisdom. If we are doing it in the right way, then it will happen naturally. It will connect one by one, naturally, because it is on the same path, with the same direction. It is not a different thing, different work. They are the same. If we simply sometimes in some day, if a mind is have a bad mood, we just simply can't do anything. Strong emotions, all those hindrances so strong, we can't do anything. Then just come back to the mindfulness. Keep knowing the present moment, know as it is. And the way that I advise is to let the brain take a rest in the breathing. When our brain is overused, don't have enough energy to maintain the mindfulness, then we can't do anything. So just to recharge the mind, recharge the brain, just shut down all other programs and stay with the breathing. This is the basis, the first step. And when the mind establishes enough mindfulness, then the following will come themselves.
My mindfulness is when I'm peaceful. Normally, the breathing at the stomach is very prominent. It's not at the nose level. It's always at the stomach. It's like this.
What do you mean? You mean the emotion?
When I'm peaceful, when I clear, what comes to my mind, what I can hear will be the breathing on my stomach, and not the breathing at the nostril area.
Yeah. That's good. that will give the mind a more stable feeling.
Yeah, so I just focus on the stomach area, the in and out.
Just relax the whole air channel, and the stomach or the belly button area
Yeah.
is rising and falling, and the breath come in and out because of this area. Then the nose, the throat are just the channel. They cannot
So
do
I
it.
will just focus on the rising and falling, rising, falling, rising, falling. Then the second step will be normally is the feeling that come. So when the feeling that come, I must be mindful. Don't cling to it. Don't cling to it, because normally I like to cling to feeling. So don't cling to it, and then I just let it be. I just continue with the process, Just watch the whole thing without clinging.
So identify the attachment. See when some pleasurable feelings happen to you, then the mind just like moving forward to this pleasurable feeling. Just like the hands are going to this object. This is the attachment. Attachment power. Relax this power. Relax this attachment. When you find the mind is trying to do this, it's clinging onto something, then relax it, and then you come back to the neutrality. So such relaxation is the kind of very subtle level relaxation. It's on the mind, on the relaxation of defilement. But it is a natural natural thing that happens when when the mind becomes more and more subtle. Actually, we are not trying to withdraw ourselves from this person. We have no way to go, but we simply relax the attachment, relax the delusion. But we are still inside this five khandha. The five khandhas are still here. We cannot escape from it. But the difference is that we are not attached to it. Then we are not suffered.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
Kelly. Good afternoon.
I would say today meditation was good. Especially initially when you're talking about resting your brains against breathing. So I could feel my head was quite heavy. So I keep on resting the brain against the breathing. So it was quite some time. I could see it and feel it is heavy. Then after that, but I think at the end of it, I could feel, the body is aching, the leg is cramped, and then the brain is still heavy. But I would able to say that it doesn't really affect me. To me, is that I could see, I said, okay, this cramp, just let it be. And the head is heavy, just, it's okay, it doesn't affect me. So I initially, I mean, at the end of it, I could see that, the pain.
This is the fact, because what we can know is that there is the feeling, but we can never see that I am feeling. Do you understand the difference?
No.
Actually, we can simply know that there is the feeling of pain or aching, something like that. But the conclusion that I am feeling, I am painful, is from our brain. It's from our mental formation. Because we cannot actually find a I inside the phenomena, right? We can simply know there is the feeling. So if we don't have such delusion of ego, then we simply know that there is the feeling. But why I need to attach the feeling? Why I need to be connected to the feelings? Right? They just exist. They are just some objects to me. I'm just a knower. But I don't need to take any responsibility to these feelings. So if we see things like this, and this is looking from the perspective of non-self, we don't have such assumption of self in order to know. So if we can relax and let go the attachment to this body and mind, then things will come clearer and clearer in this way. And then finally we even let go the knowing mind. Even the knowing mind is not self. We can easily see that everything that we know is not self, but we may unconsciously think that the knowing one, the knower is self, right? But even the knower is not me. So we let go the both parties, the known and the knowing. Then this is what I said, the last stage, the Dhammanupassana. We're using the Dhamma as the meditation object. Here Dhamma, I choose the anatta, non-self. The five khandhas are non-self. So when we stick with to this Dhamma, theme of Dhamma, then we can simply let everything be natural. Even the peacefulness of the mind is not important anymore. Just let the five khandhas work themselves. And if we can still keep understanding from the perspective of non-self, then we can easily continue this mode into our daily life. We don't need to control the mind to be peaceful. But to start, we need such basis. But after we have gone to the place, then we don't need it. We just stay with the Dhamma. The Dhamma go beyond the peacefulness of the mind. So try this step by step.
Okay.
Daniel.
Please.
Hi, good morning. Journey today was quite good in the sense that the feeling of not slowly falling into a sleep, but yet knowing that you are letting the brain to rest. I think that was a very good experiment. I think I could follow most of it actually and let the brain rest. And also the breathing part. So I could see both the breathing from the dormant, breathing from the normal. But generally, I just let it go. Let it come to whatever that is prominent. Let it comes. And overall, I think I follow almost all the words that you're saying. Most of the words, I think I didn't really slip into the real sleepiness or the slot and topper part. And it's quite relaxing actually. I think it's very calm and very relaxing. And I'm still fully aware of everything. There is also pain, but again there is no real pain that to be identified with. So there's pain here, and that's it. But I didn't really have much thoughts about whether I or not I. There's no really thought about anything. So it was just like a calm process. I think it's a very calm process. Just your voice. I listen to your voice and able to follow the instructions, and and the air going up and down, up and down, up and down. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. So just see the mechanism, understand the mechanism of the mind, how it works, how it is adjusted from the scattered mind to a focused mind. What is the process and steps? So we know the skill because mind is nothing. It is not something belong to us, not under our command. It's not that we want it to be peaceful, then it is. We need to give the right conditions to the mind to be peaceful. If we don't provide the right conditions, it will never happen. Right? Everything are conditional. Our unpeaceful mind is conditional. our 5 hindrances are conditional because we made the conditions in the past. So we are the one who caused all the problems. So in the same way, if we want to develop the wholesome Dhamma, then we need to cultivate the good conditions for it, step by step. Start from mindfulness, and then sampajanya, and then the samadhi, and then the wisdom. And if we become more and more used to the Dhamma, then we see everything from the perspective of Dhamma, from the anicca, dukkha, anatta, and it happens automatically in our daily life. Once our eyes see, once our ears hear, once we talk with other people, then it will reflect in this perspective itself, rather than thinking in a worldly way. Because in the meditation, our mind sticks with the Dhamma, stay with the Dhamma for a long time, become one with the Dhamma. Then such samadhi will continue into our daily life. It has an effect, and it guides the mind to reflect in the way of Dhamma. So this is the way that our meditation extend into our daily life. Do you understand?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Sifu.
you, Sifu.
Alessandra.
Hello.
Morning.
Yes, good morning. First of all, I want to thank you for the instructions, not only in this meditation, but generally. But this meditation, we speak about this. It was taking. I'm very grateful because the mind is getting something new perspective or new way to. So that it's not going into all the past. There is something that is taken in a different way. So the relaxation of, when you said the relaxation of the channel is very important, for example, because the body disappears, there is only the channel. And then the relaxation of the brain was very interesting because and then the opening, the blossoming of the area of the chest.
Yeah. The whole path is a path of relaxation. Actually, here the word relaxation you can understand as letting go. The whole path is the path to let go, step by step, and there are different levels of relaxation, from the body to the mind to the defilement. Defilement is the most subtle part to be relaxed. So in the meditation, we can do this rather quite easily. But in our daily life, it's quite difficult because we don't have the enough basis for it. The basis is the samadhi of the mind, stability of the mind. The mind should be knowing in a stable way, unshaken way. Then we can easily see how the Dhamma works. And try to bring this into our daily reflection. The mind will build up an interest in practice in Dhamma. Then everything will happen itself. He will like the precept, samadhi, wisdom. He will like the practice itself. Okay.
Yeah. Just about the meditation, I have to report that thoughts that were coming were really like thick cloths that were, as soon as the mind was new, that is thought, then they were disappearing. And when you said that to go into the Dhamma side, when we were in the last period of the Dhamma, then there was a thought exactly when you spoke about the self, but the mind, the experience was that suddenly it was like looking at someone else's process, looking at from
That's
outside.
Right. That's right. Dhamma is everything that is non-self. If once we hold on to anything as self, then this is not Dhamma. Dhamma is everything, all things that is non-self. So if we can see everything in a non-self way, then we are looking from the perspective of Dhamma. So it gives you a sense that we are looking at someone else, and not this guy, right? And because we don't have the sense of ego at that time. We don't have such attachment, so we have such feeling. But it's not that we are our soul is withdrawn from the body. Not that way. Simply the relaxation of the ego. It is kind of attachment. When the mind is not attached, it is in this way.
What I noticed was the biggest hinder was doubt.
Why?
It was coming, I think it was doubt because it was some kind of rational thought that was coming up. It's like this, it's like that. There was some voice, and I think it was actually doubt, but it was also not, it was present and going away. It was coming and going.
That's it. Then you can solve it yourself. As I said, the way to solve the hindrance of doubt is to remind yourself the Dhamma, the right view. Just look at everything as impermanent, suffering, and non-self. Even this rational mind, this doubt is impermanent. It's non-self. You cannot control it. So it doesn't belong to you. So we just see it as kind another phenomenon. Just know it as it is. It is doubting. That's all. And let it come, let it go. So if we have the right view in the mind, then we can overcome the doubts. Whatever it is, it can never be outside the sphere of Dhamma. Right?
Right.
Okay, good. Gabriela?
Good morning, Ajahn.
Good morning.
Today it was very, I think the mind was really relaxing. It was just following your voice, the instructions, and really coming very relaxed. So yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And can you follow the part of the Dhammanupassana?
Yeah, it was, the mind was very easy in following, but then also had to a little bit go back and forth, going back to noticing some tensions in the lower part, but then the mind just went there and it was relaxing and then going back again. So
when the mind is ready, then things will happen naturally. It's not difficult at all. And if we really taste, then you think that this meditation is just simple, right? It is simple, just knowing everything as it is, and that's all. But before we can experience it, we can simply understand with the concept, intellectual understanding. But when we can experience it, then we know that it is easy like this.
So in daily life, it is. I notice that the mind goes to very much anchoring in the body, to know the body. Now and then the mindfulness of the body arises, and then also about emotions. And I notice that the mind is like, when more aware of the area of the heart and the chest, it catches the flutter.
Because everything starts here.
Yeah.
everything starts from here. This is the source of all defilements.
Yeah.
When we any kinds of wants, they start from here. You have feeling in this area. It doesn't mean that the mind is living in this area, but we can say that when the mind is in the mode of defilement, that you have effect in this area. Then we have feeling, physical feelings in this area. So naturally, when we relax everything, we don't attach to this body and this mind, then we have feeling in this area. It happens naturally, strange. Just know as it is. No question. Just know as it is. When it happens like this, then we just simply know it. We simply be a watcher to everything. And when the mind becomes more and more relaxed, more and more subtle, then you can understand more. But knowing the facts, the truth, is not our goal of meditation. Knowing the truth is the means to let go our defilements. Our aim is to end the suffering, not to know the truth of the universe. But through knowing the truth of this body and mind, then we know that actually there's no self. There's nothing is lovely, nothing is worthy to attach. Then the mind let go. Then the suffering disappears. And this is what we are practicing for. Now you are much better.
Thank you.
Okay, very nice. Joyce.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ajahn.
Good afternoon. So
Meditation
here I'm in the morning and in the afternoon at the same time.
Oh, okay.
How is it?
Today meditation was very relaxing and very good. So nothing much to report, but there's a section perhaps I want to ask Ajahn. I can follow Ajah's guidance throughout the section, and there's a slot where suddenly feeling like very spacious, not much thinking. Because this, I was like, why? It's really, really good. I honestly feel good. I think there's subtle things where when I hope Ajahn voice come later. Because when Ajahn started talking, I have to go and process what Ajahn said. So it's like the mind like slowing down and
So in this case, you should pay attention to the craving, to the spaciousness feeling, to the attachment, to the peacefulness of the mind, because you like the peacefulness, so that you naturally refuse the voice. The aversion and craving are impaired. So the voice becomes a suffering for you because you're craving to the peacefulness. So the source is not in the voice. It's not my fault. It's your attachment. So we see things in this way. This is the perspective of Four Noble Truths. We find the cause of the suffering. The craving is always the condition for the aversion. And once aversion happens, we must have the feeling of suffering. The aversion always comes with the feeling of suffering. The mind suffers. The mind is burnt. So when we know this, then what we need to let go is not to let go the voice, but to let go the attachment to the peacefulness, and come back to the neutrality. Okay, continue.
Thank you, Ajahn.
No more report? That's all?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, so today you're not tired? Huh?
Not tired.
You have enough sleep?
Yeah.
That's good. So see how important the sleep is for you. So I try to keep a better time schedule for your sleep, and when you have the time, rest the brain. It's very important. Okay.
Actually, yeah, I meditate a lot last week. So because normally I always think that I have a lot of work to rush, but because I try to meditate more, and I noticed that things that supposed to rush is gone. The rushing feeling, like, but the work is still carry on as usual.
Yeah.
Feeling very relaxed. Yeah.
The work is there, but with the mind don't need to rush. Just follow the time. So the time will pass away, no matter you are rushing or not rushing. They pass in the same way. So just keep a normal mind with every present moment. No matter whether you're working or enjoying your leisure, the time passes the same. Just keep the mind normal. Okay. Cung.
อาจารย์นมัสการค่ะ
Do you do the meditation?
Yes, I did.
And how do you feel today?
Actually, I missed the beginning part, and I think most of the part. So, but I try to catch up with the later part. But still,
because I repeated some of the earlier parts for you.
Oh, you did. Thank you.
Because you need the part of you need the earlier part a lot.
Okay.
The first stage is to adjusting the body posture.
Okay.
Relaxing the body. There are two main points. One is the base of the body. That is the triangular area between the hip and the knees. So this area should be touching the ground and relaxed. So especially relax the joint between the legs and the lower abdomen. There are some tendons holding the body posture, sitting posture. So usually it is tight and over tight. So relax this area will help your base become more stable.
Okay.
And a little bit pushing the hip to the backward, and then the upper body will be straight. The axis will be at the middle of the body, but not on the back. And using the air channel as the supporting pillar of the body. The air channel means the area from the sinuses to the throat to the directly down to the lower abdomen. And so just imagine this, it is kind of empty channel inside, supporting the body, so make it straight and keep it empty.
Okay.
So breathing in and out is going through this channel. Then with breathing, we can adjust the straightness of the channel. So we can adjust the body posture with breath.
Okay.
So in case doing the anapanasati, we don't need to come back to the body to push the head back to the position. But we can adjust the body posture with breathing.
Okay.
So just come back to the air channel to make it straight and empty, and the body posture will be naturally coming back to the original place. So this is the first part. And the second part is relaxing the brain in the breathing.
Okay.
That is what Luang Por said. หายใจเข้าพักผ่อนสมอง หายใจออกพักผ่อนสมอง So just let the brain take a sleep in the breathing, because usually we are overusing the brain, thinking too much, and not mindful. Always our minds are always with the external. So the brain is tired, and usually such tiredness is covered by the agitation. We are not aware that the brain is so tired, until we come to meditate, we relax, then we immediately feel sleepy. This is the release of the hidden tiredness of the brain. It is good for our health. It is normal to go through this process. Just let the tiredness come out, and relax the brain in the breathing. We don't need to resist. Don't resist the sleepiness. Don't fight with it, but just intentionally let the brain take a sleep in the breathing. When you do this intentionally, then you find that actually your mind is not sleeping. Your mind is alert. The mind is knowing that the brain is sleeping. So the skill is to do this intentionally. Just let the brain sleep in the breathing. Stay in the breathing. That means we are even with the brain sleeping, but we are knowing the breathing all the time. And this is also accumulating the power of mindfulness. That is the continuity of knowing to the present moment. And when the power of mindfulness accumulates, then the mind will gradually become awake. It wakes up, and the knowing becomes all direction, รู้ตัวทั่วพร้อม which means the sampachanya. In the simile, I use an electric bulb and the flashlight. Flashlight means the mindfulness to a particular object. It's the beginner mindfulness. But sampachanya is more advanced. It's just like an electric bulb. So the light is all directional. It comes to all direction. So everything in the room you can see. You see all, not just to a particular direction, a particular object. Then this is what I describe as the awakened mind, awakenedness of the mind. And when the mind is knowing and awake, then the mind will gradually settle down in this state, becomes more stable, more stable and neutral. Then this is called samadhi. And after the mind gains a samadhi, the stability of the mind, of knowing, then contemplation on Dhamma is easy. Then simply see things, just simply don't attach to everything. 5 khandhas are not me. Just simply bring this Dhamma out. Then you can stay with the Dhamma. And let go everything else, including the body and the mind. Even the mind is crazy in thinking. You can still stick with the Dhamma. Sabbe Dhamma Anatta. So this is the last stage, Dhammanupassana. So using the Dhamma as the meditation object. And if we practice this more and get more familiar to such contemplation of Dhamma, then we can continue it naturally in our daily life. The reflection becomes automatic, rather than thinking something in a worldly way. Rather than thinking this one is nice, that one is bad, this is good guy, bad guy, this is bad, this is right. But we will think in anatta. We will think in anicca, dukkha, anatta. So step by step, the earliest stage is more important to you, especially resting the brain. So do this more. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So come next week. Even you haven't finished any homework, you should come.
I'll try to do homework other time. But I'll set myself free on Sunday. I'm free next month, the whole month actually.
Okay, that's good. But next Sunday we don't have the course on this Sunday because Katina.
Okay. Oh, all right. That's true. That's right. Okay. Okay.
So the next week.
Next week. Okay. Sorry. Sadhu.
Hỏi hoài.
Good afternoon, Ajahn.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I think the meditation was okay. Like I probably I wasn't so tired today, so like I didn't have to go through the sleepiness that much, or like the restlessness. So and I managed to like kind of stay tuned to what Ajahn was saying throughout. So I think it was okay.
So how much can you follow?
Actually, my internet connection was kind of bad in the middle, so so it got disconnected like a few times. So but I think like in between that it was okay.
So when your brain is not tired, then it's easier to go through the process of mindfulness. And the mind has enough energy of mindfulness, then it can wake up easily. So can you feel the mind is awake? That is that it is knowing in a kind of all-embracing knowing, the whole body and mind. I mean the awakeness of the mind. The mind is more sharp, more alert. Can you feel this?
Maybe I don't know. Not sure.
But you can feel a certain period of peacefulness of the mind, right?
Sometimes, like
sometimes,
yeah, sometimes.
And try to bring the non-self perspective into this peaceful mind. When we are knowing the peaceful mind, don't attach to it. Just see it's kind of phenomenon. It's nothing special. It is the same as sleepiness. But now because the mind has enough energy, so it is awake. But we are practicing the mind to let go the attachment. This is more important. Not just to enjoy the peacefulness. And when the mind is peaceful because it is balanced. It is at least mentally balanced and emotionally balanced. So we can feel a kind of ease. The mind will be at ease. So don't waste this period of time. This is very precious. So bring it to the reflection of Dhamma. Reflect on everything is non-self or impermanent, or suffering. Whatever, which one, whatever you like, just choose one from these. And the breathing happens itself. The breathing doesn't belong to me, and the knower is also not me. So there is the knowing and there is the breathing, but none of them belongs to me. None of them is me. So it's just like a kind of completely a complete outsider. We are a knower from nowhere. Understand? If you stand with the knower, then you are simply looking to the objects, and then you think that you are the knower unconsciously. But we also need to let go even the knower. Just let the knower know itself, but it's not me. Try to do this next time, and adjust your daily life, your routine, so that we have enough energy to practice. It is very important. Practice is not only a matter of time, but also the matter of energy. Sometimes we have enough time, but we don't have enough energy to do this. Our mind is tired because of the greed, aversion, and delusion. Our brain is tired because of the work, but our mind is not tired because of the work. The mind is tired only with greed, aversion, and delusion. Remember this. So when we are enjoying our work, we are focusing on our work. The mind is not tired, but the brain can be tired. But tiredness of the brain is easy to deal, but the tiredness of the mind is difficult. So protect our energy of the mind is to protect ourselves from the greed, aversion, delusion. refrain ourselves from those activities that will arouse too much defilements in us. This is kind of protecting ourselves, protecting our energy. Then if we have enough energy and invest our energy in some more meaningful, more worthy aspect in the practice, then our life will be much happier. Okay. Megan.
Hi, Ajahn. I think today was not a good sitting for me. I wasn't able to, I think sometimes when I am tired, I am able to detach my observation or knowing from the tiredness. But today I was not able to do that. I was watching the tiredness and sleepiness, but it was I think it felt often physically overwhelming, and yes. So today I was not really able to look beyond the tide. Well, detach.
And what about your daily life?
Yes, I think that is. I think I ate too much. That's a problem.
Yeah, meditation, feeling good or not in this 1 hour is not important comparing to our the whole week daily life, right? Because we have much more time in our daily life outside the meditation session. So plan our daily life is more important.
Yes, I think this week, actually, I think for a big part of the week, I was able to maintain the knowing even throughout my day, and to see, have this sense that as I'm going through my actions, my body is not my body, the thoughts are not my thoughts, and emotions are not my emotions. But when I got to the end of the week, there was I think it was a fear that came up. That, how about, there's a question about how I can carry on living my life with that detachment, because
okay, I can't hear. Suddenly disappear. It's not mute, but everything disappeared. So let's wait for a while. Maybe she needs some tissue. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yes, my I think my device died. Sorry. They didn't want me to share the conversation.
So can you repeat your last question?
Yes, I wanted to. Sorry. No, I said that I think in the last couple of days there was a fear that came out, because I said throughout this week, throughout this week I was able to maintain the I suppose this knowing throughout my week, and by the end of the week I had this fear that came up about how I can live my life with the sense of detachment on a day-to-day basis, because I started to see my children like I see other people. So there is no distinction, and there is no so there was a detachment about everything, and there is no and I became very afraid at that point that I cannot carry on my life in that detached way. Yes.
The object that we need to detach is not our belonging. In the Buddha's time, when Buddha taught the Asupa practice, that is the contemplation on the impurity of the body, and many monks they grow a strong hatred, disliking emotion to their own body, and they try to kill themselves, or ask they ask someone to kill themselves. So they are detaching on the in a wrong way. What we are practicing to detach is to detach from the attachment, from the greed, aversion, delusion. We feel bored to the greed, aversion, and delusion, not bored to what we are dealing with, not bored to the body, not to the food. If we feel bored to the body, then we will kill ourselves. If we're bored to the food, then we'll go on fasting. If we are bored to our children, then we just kick them out from the home. We are not practicing like this, but we are to practice to let go the attachment. But we can still love people without attaching to them. Right? This is the meaning of metta. It is love without attachment. When we can love other people without attaching to them, then you will find that this kind of love is much more bigger. It's more embracing and it's bigger. It's not to hypnotize ourselves that our children is nothing different from other people's children. This is not a real neutrality. But
maybe I'm not describing it very well. It's not that I don't love them, but I don't know how to make decisions, I suppose, for them. Maybe it's the right way.
We don't need to make any decision. Our children is not our hindrances. Our hindrances is in the mind. It's our greed, aversion, and delusion, not our children. Do you remember? Do you understand this? Just like in the case of the noise during our meditation, and we will think that the noise is our obstacle, but this is wrong. Our defilement is the obstacle. Our hatred against the noise is the obstacle, right? So you can apply this case into your case the same way. Children is not the obstacle, but the greed, aversion, and delusion. If we can solve the problem of greed, aversion, and delusion, then actually we can love better, much more than before, and in a selfless way. Before this, we are loving, but most of this love are selfish. It is around the self, or sometimes it's serving for the self. But we think that we are loving the other, we are sacrificing for the others, but actually it's for the self. Sometimes this is quite subtle, because we are trying to actualize the ego through the act of loving other people. Understand?
Yes.
But if we can solve the problem of greed, aversion, and delusion, we can solve the problem of attachment to the ego, then the love is pure. We don't need to give up the children for practice, but we need to give up. We need to give up the greed.
I'll give them up anyway.
This is the wrong way. Just like the monks committing suicide, right? It's a wrong let go. But the right let go is to let go the defilements. It's inside, not outside. So try to contemplate on this. Dhamma is never harmful. It's never harming to anyone. Because Dhamma serves for ending our suffering, not giving more suffering to us. Right? Otherwise, we are understanding the Dhamma in the wrong way.
It's yes. Yeah. I think it's I see that it's a fear that comes from inside of myself. It's not the and it's a fear that it's a fear of change. I think of it's a fear of the internal change. I think that comes from practice on my part than anything else.
If we are changing in a right way, there's only such change will only make us happier. If we are growing in the path of Dhamma, then our mind will be much wider, will be much loving, will be much patient. It's nothing harming.
Yes. Yes.
But sometimes we try to create the self-image of a practitioner. We think that being a practitioner, we should be like this. We should detach from all our family members. We should do this, should do that. Sometimes such kind of self-image, the ego, is quite unconscious. But we are believing in this way. We think that practicing is to be an ego like this. But actually our practice is to let go the ego. There's no self. We are not striving to be anyone. There's no one to be. But when we can let go the self, then actually you can find all those selfish attributes in you disappears. Then what is left is pure. It's all positive. So don't be afraid. If you're still afraid, that means you don't understand. You misunderstand the Dhamma. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So, Erica.
Nothing special today. Just meditate. Not much to say.
How about your daily life?
Okay. Still not meditate much in the daily life. As mentioned yesterday, a lot of craving, but try to add more awareness to the daily life and practice.
So just keep rearranging the time, manage the time. This is more important. Time is precious, and our practice is not only during the meditation session. It is during the whole day. Once we can remember practice, once we remember, do it immediately. Don't wait. Don't wait. Whatever we are doing, don't wait. Even we are working or going to toilet, eating, they are the same. So if we don't have enough energy, then the laziness will gradually drain out our energy. Then we our practice will stop, and sometimes will depreciate. So reflect on the importance of practice, the reason why we need to practice, and we gain energy from this. Because listening to Dhamma is not as important as recharging ourselves with more positive energy. When we have enough energy to practice, then Dhamma will come itself. But sometimes if we listen to too much Dhamma, but the mind doesn't have enough energy to work, then the Dhamma simply remains intellectual. It doesn't help. The more important is to recharge ourselves with more energy, the more chanda to practice, be more interested in practice. It is not something optional. It's a necessity in our life, and it is the first priority in our life. Think on this. If we have enough energy, then actually most of the problems disappear. Most of the practitioners, most of the problems are saying that in our daily life it's difficult to maintain the mindfulness because my work is too stressful, my boss is too nasty, and all these reasons. But all the problems comes from they don't have enough energy to practice. So their mind is going to the external conditions, not with themselves. Okay.
Thank you, Ajahn.
So any more questions for those who didn't join last yesterday's session? Alan, do you want to say something?
No.
How's your daily life?
As usual.
This is your usual answer.
Yeah. As usual.
So you're in lack of energy too. So try to refresh the mind. In lack of energy. In lack of energy to practice. In lack of interest to practice.
I do have the energy and the interest to practice. I think my practice is quite stable. When I need to work, I practice like one hour per day, and when I need to go to the office, then I practice 2, sometimes 3 hours at home.
You mean at home? At
home, yeah. When I don't need to work.
Don't need to work. Okay.
Yeah. So when I need to work, I sit for at least 1 hour before sleep, unless there's something happened or then I don't have the time. So yeah, just try to keep it stable.
Can you reflect with the Dhamma, with the impermanent suffering and non-self?
It was a period a bit earlier that I got quite a lot of reflection during my meditations and sometimes during daily life. Just some ideas just pop up in the mind, and especially during the meditation, sometimes I would chase the ideas and I keep thinking and refreshing. But quite lately that the mind become more calm and I just focus on the somehow emptiness, which is the conditions of the mind that there's no ideas in the mind. And at the very beginning, just a lot of ideas came up because I have that problem. Like usually my problem is not being stable. Like usually my problem during meditation is like I got too much thoughts. But then I think like during these recent weeks that the minds become more used to have no ideas. So the minds become more stable during the meditations. But now the mind's like kind of shifting between that emptiness, that whiteness, and the real situations of having no ideas. So
it means kind of a blank mind, kind of blank mind without any thoughts.
it's not really downiness. It's not down to the mind. It's not down. It's just like that white. Okay, well, I feel like 10 years ago, like more than 10 years ago, I used to went into a boat trip. Then when we were in the middle of the, like in the sea, which is nothing at night, when you look outside in the platform, in the window, that you only see black. There's not like, black is the only thing that you can see because there's absolutely no light, even no stars in the sky, which is light enough, like maybe it was bad weather. Anyway, that image kept in my mind. Then now when I see white, but not black, because it's in the contrary, that whiteness is emptiness, is freedom. It's like no ideas, nothing there. So yeah, anyway, like my mind is kind of like struggling between this whiteness and situations of being no ideas, and sometimes some thoughts come inside. So I think I'm practicing and trying to keep my mind to stay into that, like to focus only on the situations of having no ideas, to be mindful with that situations of mind, but not that whiteness.
In our
sorry.
Yeah, in our daily life, just let the mind be natural and be aware to the changes. And because only this is more more matchable to our work. Otherwise, if we are too used to the mind used to slip into the state of whiteness, right, as you described, and whiteness.
That white color, white, like nothing else, just white.
It's kind of blanking. It's blank mind, right? So, it's kind of without content, and this is if you try to keep this state, protect this state, this is not so right, because once this is not a real emptiness. Real emptiness is the emptiness of the ego. That when we don't have ego, then this is the real emptiness. But there are still things impermanent. There are still things changing, working, and we are still knowing a lot of things. But it's the blank mind is kind of, you can use it as kind of samatha practice, but it's not good if we attach too much to it. So that's why I use the relaxing the brain rather than imagining an emptiness in the brain. If we try to visualize anything, then it is not. It's not letting go. It's creating. We are creating an image to attach, and the mode of the mind is attaching. It's clinging to this object, no matter how you describe, whether it is emptiness or brightness or anything. You can use very positive words to describe, but they are the same. The mind is attaching. The important is the attitude, the action of the mind, rather than the object. The action of the mind, if we are doing it the wrong way, then it is the greed, aversion, and delusion. If we are practicing in the right way, the action of the mind is to let go, is non-doing. The non-doing mind is the mind really take rest. But if we hold on to a no thought mind, it's still a kind of clinging. By clinging to one single object, rather than clinging to the scattered mind. So when the mind becomes blank like this, just know it is like this. Don't attach to it. It is not something good.
Yeah, I think I understand that kind of like whiteness, that blankness is not real. It's imaginative, and it becomes an object for samadhi. So I'm not doing that. Like I'm trying to not doing that. Just looking for and researching for the real conditions of mind when there's no idea there, when there's not doing it.
What do you mean no idea?
Not no idea, no thoughts, like
no thoughts.
not doing anything, like when the mind's not doing anything and being really happy about not doing anything. I'm looking for that real conditions, because sometimes the mind is so tricky, you know, like it fake something. Then when I to charm me to fall into it and to try to get hold of it. So I think I am
the difference is when you pay attention to the object, then you can see it is blank, it is empty. But when you pay attention to the mind itself, then you know whether it is doing or not. So as I said, the importance is on the action of the mind, the activity of the mind, how the mind reacts to the object. Because the greed, aversion, and delusion comes from here. It's not in the object. So it may be the same object, but if you are using the different action, it can be completely different, the practice. So if we use a white color as the object, it is the kasina practice. The kasina practice. But kasina practice can be right and can be wrong, depend on the action of the mind. Whether we are doing it from the greed, aversion, and delusion, or doing it as kind of non-doing, knowing. So if you want to know whether it is kind of real emptiness coming from non-doing, or is simply a kind of no thought object, then go back to the knower. Pay attention to the knower. Is the knower doing? Is the knower clinging? Or is the knower tight? Because once it starts to do something, it is tight. So if you can identify this tightness, then you can know whether it is doing or not, whether it is a real emptiness or not.
And there's yeah, I understand. Thank you. And when I when I think, when I feel that it's really that there's no thoughts there, and there's in the real conditions of not doing anything, like the mind, that I see. Hello, can you hear me? You were frozen again.
I can hear.
Yeah. So I see lights, flashing lights. So it becomes quite often then when I think that there's that I'm in that situations, which is no thoughts in the mind, that a lot of lights flashing. So I don't know. At this moment, I take it as a sign that I'm doing it right, but is it? I'm not really watching it. I mean, I'm not really attached to that, but it kind of like telling me that, okay, now you're doing it right. Should I?
It is a kind of natural phenomena from the nerves. It's nothing special. It depends on whether it's a release of the stress of the nerves. So when we press a lot, then sometimes such kind of release of stress can be very strong. And sometimes we have a very strong visualization. I see some very special experience, but it means nothing. Whether it is right or not, we need to identify the mind. We need to observe the mind, not the object. Because the greed, aversion, and delusion happens in the mind. It is the action or the reaction of the mind. If you cannot identify between the knower and the object, then it's difficult to know that whether we are doing it right or not. Sometimes we think that we are letting go, but actually it's kind of aversion. It is, they are quite close. wisdom and aversion is very close. So we need to investigate the mind, the knowing itself. When this knowing change, then we know whether it is wholesome or not. The greed, aversion, and delusion comes from here, and the samadhi and the liberation also comes from here. This is the cittanupassana, as in the sutta. When the mind has the craving, has just know that the mind has craving. When the mind has no craving, just know that the mind has no craving. When the mind has hatred, just know that the mind has hatred. When there has no hatred, just know no hatred. So we need to identify different modes of the mind, so that we can know whether it's wholesome or not. But before we can really go into this state to observe the mind, then we simply observe from the feelings. We cannot know whether they are right or not. So to observe the mind, the knower, see from the change of the knower, then we will know whether it's right or not.
So sometimes I could see like these are thoughts, and there's this knower, and there's another view from here. So there's three selves.
We don't need to have such concepts. As I use the word, you are looking from nowhere. But these are just a description in language. But if we don't use the concept as another knower, looking at the old knower, then who is knowing this new knower? Then it is endless. Because such a concept is a creation. When in the real experience, we simply know. No concept. Don't investigate with language. We simply know it is like this, right? Stop the brain functioning, stop the mental formation. Then it is true. Because in this stage, it's difficult, it's impossible to describe in language. And language has a danger. When we try to understand in language, then we are using the sanya and the sankhara. It's not using the vijnana. That means we are not simply knowing. We are creating.
Like these are ideas. Like we could get trapped.
Yeah. If we think that, although we may have such a feeling that it seems like that I'm the third party, right? But don't believe this. Don't believe this. That's kind of mental symbol. Because the sanya translate the experience into the system language that the mind can process. But this language itself doesn't mean the reality. The reality has no language.
But like sometimes, I understand. Yeah, thank you. But sometimes during these conditions, when I meditate, I examine these thoughts and categorize them, and I think it helps somehow during my daily life that when some feelings happens in the mind, something happened, and some thoughts, some ideas comes into the mind, that the analytical mind happens automatically. Then I start to tell myself, okay, not good, you're angry again, or okay, this is craving, you shouldn't. Like just something sometimes like that. So
we can use the rational mind when they can help you to let go the defilement. Then it is kind of samatha practice. Thinking can be a samatha practice. We think in a way of Dhamma, the yoniso manasikara. Then it helps the mind become peaceful. But this is kind of samatha practice. It is not vipassana. Vipassana is that the mind understands, accepts the anicca, dukkha, anatta, and the whole value of life changes. It changes the value. The whole the whole system. It's a system upgrade, not just a new program. So when
long way to go to upgrade totally.
So you see, you have so many questions, and you said no question. I need to use something to let you speak. Then you have more questions. Okay. Anyone? Any more questions?
So if you don't have any questions or anything to share openly, then we could do about 3 times to Ajahn and end these sections. But if you have anything to say or ask Ajahn really privately, then you could stay behind and
Too really.
talk to Ajahn privately with maybe Freddie if he's here, or any other guys has email. Okay, so let's bow 3 times together. Ajali Vandana. Abhi Vandana. Ajali Vandana. Abhi Vandana. Ajali Vandana. Abhi Vandana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So let me remind everyone once again that we're going to skip for 1 week next Sunday. So if you speak Cantonese, that you please join us on Saturday. Or if you speak only English, then maybe you could join the Korean.
Join the Korean group. You can tolerate the translation.
Yeah. It takes a bit longer time, but but you still get the section. Okay, so
if you can speak Mandarin, then you can join the Chinese group. Totally four classes. Okay, then see you next time.
So thank you,
Ajahn, Alan, and everyone. Yeah.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, everyone.
I don't see anybody want to say. So I leave.
Sometimes有冇人需要
Freddie is there.
Freddie 冇傾，冇想走。
有冇啫 Yeah, I think Freddie was there.
咩事？
冇事啊，
冇事，
冇事。Thank you，多謝師傅。Thank you to everybody。
下個禮拜邊度格天啊？喺what？
大師傅嗰度咯。因為今年咧就係Katina咧就係全國都係同一日嘅，政府規定嘅，因為唔想啲人即係因驚啲 Covid 咧又會咁樣周圍傳嚟傳去啊嘛。
OK，即係
全部一日同一日。
各個廟都係同樣嗰日。
係啦。
OK， 即係 October 3號係嘛？4號。4號。
你不啲咯。
係啊。
係咩？哎呀，冇得同你慶祝生日添。
係啊。